all these packages in the mail today. You can tell they're a lot smaller. They're not even cut. I'll basically match the cuts when I pull the old ones out. But these are the ones for the rear sway bar. I figured while I'm doing the polyurethane, I don't do anything halfway. So it was time to go ahead and replace these. So let me crawl underneath the vehicle and pull the old ones off. Alright, so I'm right underneath the truck. This is the differential here. It's the back of the vehicle. And here's the sway bar, considerably smaller. And of course it's not a 14 millimeter, so I'll have to go grab a handful of sockets to see which ones that is. But I'll basically do the same thing. I'll take these off, let the sway bar probably right up here someplace, and then coming through the other side, there's that one there. So it looks like this would be the bushing stop here, and then it looks like these two come out and it slides down this way and off. So this shouldn't be too bad. So let me go ahead and make sure I have the right size socket. And then the sway bar links here. Couldn't remember the other day, but the sway bar links, I'm going to replace these on the back and the front whenever they come in, which should be either later on this week or sometime next week. Alright, so the rear sway bars, it looks like it's a number 12. So 14's up front, 12 in the back, again considerably smaller. Now I can go ahead and pull this off. Hey, driver's side here. Because of the fuel tank, it's kind of a close call in there, so looks like just a shallow socket along with a wrench will work just fine. This wrench I use actually telescopes for leverage and for clearance, so it's just going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt when you go to put it back in because of where the bolt is, to go ahead and start it by hand. Just thought I'd give you guys a heads up on it. The rest of them are a piece of cake. Yeah, so there's always that one bolt. Of course, this is the passenger side. Again, piece of cake, easy to get to. Coming around this side because of the fuel tank, right up in there is going to be a pain. So you might want to want a ratcheting box end, or even just a regular box end. And it's going to take me a while to go ahead and back that one out. The bottom one, plenty of room. Top one's going to be a pain. All right, here's the old. Kind of malformed. They were a little bit loose. And of course, here's the new. And these even get squished a bit as they're pushed down into these brackets here. It's a nice tight fit, so I might actually put just a smidge of that grease up inside these brackets here. Make it a little bit easier to put it back together. Also, they put these slits in these positions for a reason. So what I'll probably do is, actually what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a razor knife and just add the slits myself. And that way they mimic this. Again, it's just an easy way for them to go on due to the location of where these brackets are. Okay, I can only guess that these bushings that weren't cut are the same part numbers for maybe some other vehicles that have their slits in a different spot. Again, you want to try to match them to what's here. The originals that came out, I use an X-Acto knife, and I'll give you a heads up, this stuff does not cut easy. Got to take two hands and basically use a rocking motion all the way down, and just take your time, be careful, don't cut yourself or none of that stuff, but it is a little frustrating. It takes a while. So be liberal with the lubricant. Get this from both sides, lots of lubrication in there. Again, it comes with grease, but I had this left over from the other day, so I'm going to go ahead and use that up since it's a one-use bag. Same thing here, and actually inside the brackets for when they slide down over this, because it's kind of tight, so you're not having to fight too much with friction once you're underneath the vehicle. The bolts here, I'm going to throw some Loctite on those, so even after they're tightened up, get the Loctite in there, they'll never vibrate loose. It's kind of a cool day here. Not cold, it's cool. It's in the upper 60s, but it definitely makes this polyurethane kind of stiff. Trying to rock this into place and to get that first bolt started on top is a real pain. I ended up using the old vice grips, gripping the lip and actually right behind it to get it started. Once that one started, of course, there's a clip that holds the bottom end, so the lower bolt won't be a problem. Where this is really going to be fun is going to be on this side here, where I don't have a whole lot of room. So let's see how that works out. Alright guys, I'm not going to lie, the passenger side, it couldn't have been any easier. I torqued these for about 30, again tighten them going back and forth. This was a piece of cake. I had one screw, actually one bolt, that took me over half an hour. Where is it? That's right, that little SOB right up there behind the fuel tank. What I ended up having to do was get in there with a pry bar. Use this little guy here, reaching up in there, kind of pushing that sort of almost closed, and then trying to finagle my way through this octopus area here. Then I went ahead and got a pair of vice grips up under there. Once that was pinched together, grabbed the socket, and I had to keep turning it and stuff to get the thread started on this bolt. So this one here, for me, half an hour to get it done. Once it's in, you can get any type of wrench on there. Even a torque wrench was pretty easy, even with this in the way, and tighten this thing down. I'm just glad it's done. It was a lot harder than I thought. Why? Only because of that one bolt. If it wasn't for the tank, this thing would have been a 10-minute job. Those of you guys that watch the videos I make, you'll notice I do have a pretty good stock up on the wall, but there's always stuff I don't have. These are all stainless steel here. These here are black, but they're nylon. They're not plastic. And nylon's pretty tough stuff. It resists rot, lasts a pretty long time. I need this size here. And I noticed when I was underneath the back of the FJ, when I had put my snorkel in, I took it from the differential, rear differential, along with the electric locker, teed it off, and actually ran inside my vehicle. And that's actually on a different video. But I used a lot of tie wraps. I didn't have this at the time. So today, what the heck? Since I am working underneath the vehicle, I think I'll take some of these here and remove the tie wraps and put these in along with some screws. And then what I usually do is use a rubberized coating and give it a quick spray over. That way it's all black, it looks good, and at the same time it actually will protect the bolts and scrapes from rust and things like that. What the heck, since I'm under there. And one clamp yesterday that I removed a tie wrap and put it in place. It looks a lot more professional than looking amateuristic like this here. And then up here and here. I can actually go ahead and put one in here finally. So let's go ahead and get those on, get these tie wraps off of here, and make it look a bit more professional down here. Alright, so here's the factory side here. You see how everything's connected to, well, this will actually be like a unibody frame here underneath the cargo area in the back. And we now have the tie wraps removed, the clamps, the bolts, and of course they've been sprayed with rubberized undercoating. And up on here, same thing. This has all been cleaned up nice. Get the clamps, the bolts, and we have the rubberized undercoating on there, along with spraying a little bit back there. The neat thing about the rubberized undercoating is it also gives you a little bit of soundproofing or sound deadening. So I sprayed some of that in there. But I should pretty much do it for today. Everything's been cleaned up, and we'll see what the next adventure holds for putting stuff and modifying the FJ. Seems like it's a never-ending battle.